It's Alissa Coram here, along with this week's guest, Ed Carson, our news editor. And you know, Ed, I don't think I've interacted with you enough today.
No, finally a chance to get together.
Exactly. Yeah. Ed and we did IBD Live this morning. We just wrapped up our Stock Market Today video. And I somehow convinced Ed to do this with me. But I'm excited. It'll be fun. I think our audience, you do show, the personal side of yourself on Twitter a lot. But I think this is just another opportunity to get to know Ed, the person, in addition to Ed, the news editor.
Well, that's great. I hope it is not to disappoint, because as Seinfeld said, it's like, is there more to Newman? And it's like, no, there's less. So we'll find out.
All right. Well, hey, the audience has requested this. So without further ado, here we go. In it, it's not just fun. We also will be talking about a trade that you recently made, Ed. So some fun and games and education too. So first, talk to us just very briefly about how this week's market action impacted your exposure.
I'd already been relatively light, and I just had things weren't working for me, honestly, and I hadn't played in some of the steel and energy names, or at least that had been really working. So I was pretty light, and I tried a couple of things, and well, they didn't last long. I mean, this was a bad market, and so just needed to. There were some hopeful things, and then it wasn't hopeful. The weekly losses were bad, but they masked how bad they were from Thursday's high. And so, I had to scale back. So I'm even less than before at the beginning of this week, and not a whole lot of reason to be trading.
Yeah. Okay. So now for a couple of fun things, and I will be answering these questions too. So first, the fictional character you relate to or admire most.
Well, this is just off the top of my head, but I'm going to say Ender Wiggin from the sci-fi book and Ender's Game. So I don't know if I identify with him, but I admire them.
Well, for those of us who I've seen the movie, but so for those of us who need a little refresher, why is he so admirable?
Well, I just like the fact that he faces a lot of challenges, and he just pressure keeps on building and building, but he always finds a way to win. And that's just like, but with also the character, it's not just this stoic character. Like there's a lot of conflict inside him, but he shows, it's just really impressive what he's able to do. And it's, you can just identify with him. I wish I could be more like that character. It was turned into a movie, just a so-so movie. Actually, he started Harrison Ford. He was phoning that in. But we're not going to phone it in today.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I did mention the movie, which is kind of opening up a can of worms with Ed, because he's a very, very tough movie critic, which as you should be. You are well within your rights to be a tough movie critic, validly so. So anyway, the fictional character for me would be Nancy Drew. I loved the Nancy Drew books, but people underestimate her. But I think she's just, this some dumb girl, but she solves mysteries, and I think that I can kind of relate to that. I like to problem solve, and anyway, just a little fun thing there. And all right, well, what about your favorite TV show of all time? Is it Seinfeld? Is it The Simpsons? Am I missing something in the 8 years I've known you?
It would probably be Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
There you go.
I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoy dramas that have jokes in the midst of them, as opposed to constantly doing that. I really like the characters. I mean, I really enjoyed it. That show started the year I started at IBD, so it's been a long time. But I guess that's probably my favorite show.
I guess I need to watch it. For me, it's something really goofy, but it's Chuck. I don't know if you ever saw Chuck, Ed. But it's the guy, he basically works at the equivalent of a Best Buy, and then he stumbles upon the CIA data is basically ingrained in his mind, and so it's just a very funny, quirky humor kind of show, But it was one that my husband and I both just really enjoyed. like many shows that go on for a lot of seasons, it gets kind of weird towards the end. The plot
Sure,
lines get
yeah.
kind of weird, but it was still very enjoyable. So
I
we like
remember that show, but it's also my kids were very little, so I was sort of like I wasn't watching much TV then.
yeah. All right. Well, I guess I better watch Buffy, and maybe if you have time, you could check out Chuck. But at any rate, okay, something surprising about you that people wouldn't know.
Oh, I don't know if there's anything really surprising about me. I'll be honest. Uh, I
You're a
don't know.
vegan, but maybe people
Oh
already
yeah,
know
yeah, I guess I know it, so I assume everybody else does. Yeah, I'm pretty much vegan. My wife went that way, and it's like, yeah, so she is a great cook, and so trying to keep me lean and healthy for the long run. So trying to be can slim in my personal
There
life
you
in
go.
that regard.
There you go. I like it. Okay, for me, it's my birth certificate actually says the wrong date. My parents never got it fixed, and they actually never told me about it until one day in gym class. We were divided in junior high. We were divided up. If you had an even birthday, you go on one side of the room. Odd birthday, you go on the other side of the room. I got pulled aside later. Sweetie, why did you go to the wrong group? And then my whole world came crashing down. Just kidding. But it just off by one day, and my mom said it would take an act of Congress to get it changed. So I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna have two birthdays. So I
Hey,
get I get 2 days out of the year to celebrate my birth. So why not? But
that's pretty
so,
good.
so a little interesting there. Okay, so back to stocks. What would you say, Ed, is your favorite chart pattern or setup that you like to buy?
Certainly in the last few years, I guess, and you're probably well aware, it's like I like it when stocks are breaking above trend lines, maybe coming up through the 50-day line as well, giving multiple reasons to buy it, especially early. I guess I've been fixing on that because traditional breakouts haven't worked so well. So I like that combination of the trend line and the 50-day line. Doesn't always work, that's for sure. But it's just something that I find it aesthetically pleasing too. I just sort of feel like, okay, you can see why people would be getting into it. Technicians would be interested in it, that they'd be wanting to buy it and they wouldn't want to sell it. So that's something I gravitate to. Haven't seen it too much lately.
Yeah. And for me, I'd say my favorite setup is some of the best trades that I've made over the last year and this year are pullbacks to and reversals off of the 50-day slash 10 week. I've really been trying to train myself to buy those reversals versus breakouts to highs because it seems like every time I try to buy a breakout, I immediately regret it. And I clearly I haven't learned yet. I'm still trying to buy into strength, but keeping my losses small. So at least I'm trying to do that. Okay, well, speaking of Ed, let's talk about a trade that you made this week. We've been talking a lot about some interesting action in the medical sector, and you recently picked up and dropped off some shares of Edwards Life Sciences. So walk us through this trade.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking to myself, okay, it seems like hospitals are going to be filling up with people are going to do procedures. Obviously, the stock had been coming back up a little bit. It formed a hand, came up here. Some of that was on volume. I mean, I'm not saying everything was perfect. So it forms this handle. And so, yeah, I broke it when it came above that trend line. I didn't buy it right at the bottom there, but I got it around, let's see, something I think it was just under 120. So I picked up, it was just a third position. So like a 3% position. I wasn't feeling that confident.
Mhm.
But so I took that and I was thinking, oh, I'm pretty smart. Look at how smart I am. Because medicals have been doing well. Now it's expanding. Everything's going to be great.
Right.
And it did well for a couple of days. And then yesterday, I should have at least taken partial profits. But I'll be honest, if we look on an intraday chart, you can sort of see how it came down a little bit, but then the market really sold off. I'll be honest, I was busy. And so that last little bit really got me when it was like, that was okay. That was okay. And then that last bit, okay, I wish I had sold, partial profit, and not that big of a deal because it was a small position. Today, we had, the hospitals crashed on a weak outlook, and ISRG crashed, which is in sort of a similar field. So there's just like, and look, the market crashed, and not market crashed, but the market sold off. So, it came down, it got down to just under 120. I think I took a tiny loss on it. It's like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. It's not working. Nothing else is working. We've seen a whole bunch of other breakouts not work. So, that's just sort of been the best you can do at times lately, which is another signal. If things aren't working, just like, well, why are you even bothering? It's sort of like, if you're working so hard in a bad market to try to make a penny.
Yeah, the hard penny market. Yeah.
A hard penny, and usually it means I'm being nickeled and dimed on the other side. I'm not making a penny. I'm losing nickels and dimes. That's not any fun.
Exactly. Yeah. So you don't need to wait for the stock to, for you to be down 5 to 8% in your position before getting out. Just realizing where we are in the market, how things aren't working, as you said. Not just looking at things in a vacuum here, and earnings early next week. So the fact that you could potentially be heading into an earnings report down on a position, I know that's not what you want to be doing.
Yeah, so all those factors, because if this had been like several weeks before earnings and the market was in pretty good shape and it came down, okay, I'm down 2%. It's like, all right, I probably held it. I might have held it till almost, then it went through the 21 day. I probably would have given up at that point, on that new position, but I probably would have held it a little longer during the day. But given everything else, as you were saying, it was just not an environment that seemed to be saying, yeah, I want to hold this stock.
Mm-hmm. All right, Ed. Well, I appreciate you breaking down this trade for us and sharing some interesting things about yourself with the crowd. I know it's been really great working with you for the past 8 years. I can't believe it's already been that long. And you just celebrated a big milestone with IBD earlier this year. And there's a lot of changes happening right now in the company, but feel like things are going pretty great. I mean, it's hard to complain when you work with really great people.
Yeah, I mean, that's one reason I think there's so many people who have been around for so long, because it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. I'm glad, thank goodness, with Zoom. I mean, I wish sometimes we were all together in the office, but yeah, I'm glad, we've probably talked more today than we would have otherwise, like it's like 3 times today, and just hanging out before even before and after the videos. So it's a lot of fun to be with this crowd and with a lot of people out there who are interested in this stuff.
It is. All right, Ed. Well, thank you once again. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Next week, I'm having Stock Tales with Brian Shannon. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. We'll see you there. Hope you have a great weekend, everyone.